Good Wednesday morning. Boy, the text today in John, I got to admit, it just fulfills what I said just a few minutes ago, okay? I'll read it to you, okay? I'll show you. It's exactly right. Love drives out fear. I'll show it to you. I'll read it to you, okay? He says, Beloved, if God so loved us, we also must love one another. No one has ever seen God. Yet, if we love one another, God remains in us, and his love is brought to perfection in us. This is how we know that we remain in him and he in us, that he has given of us his Spirit. Moreover, we have seen and testified that the Father sent his Son as Savior of the world. Whoever acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, God remains in him and he in God. We have come to know, listen to that language now, we have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. Now here we go. Watch him let loose here. Okay? God is love. And whoever remains in love remains in God and God in him. In this is love brought to perfection among us, that we have confidence on the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. See? We are bonded to Christ, you see, in love. Faith and love, you see. Here we go. Watch this line now. This is what I said yesterday, okay, in yesterday's readings. There is no fear in love. How do you fear someone you love? You fear that you will be unfaithful, but you don't fear that person. See? There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. Because fear has to do with punishment. Think of all the kind of lawyers. Forget about it, okay? Because fear has to do with punishment. And so one who fears is not yet perfect in love. Boy, is that ever true. God, is that ever true. It's true of anybody, any human relationship. If you only play by the rules, there will never be intimacy. You may keep your nose clean, but will you have ever loved well? The same here. If your relationship to God is one of fear, then you really are never been intimate with God himself. You have never loved him. Love drives out that fear. It drove it out in me. I have to say that. Back 60 years ago, almost 60 years ago. Never feared God since then, because I don't fear my Father. Because I know as my Father was faithful to me, God is infinitely faithful to me. That imperfect as I am and sinful as I am, I trust in the divine fidelity, because I do love him, and I seek to be a good son to the Father, as Christ is the son to the Father. You see? See how it works? It's neat, isn't it? It's true. It's true. And I think of in the human conditions. It's when you love the other. Aristotle saw that, actually. It's the third form of love. It's when you love the other person more than yourself. And the irony is, you receive the most love in return. The intimacy is a result of that. Not when you love for your own purposes. See? It's when you love another person purely for the sake of the good of the other. Huh? That's intimate. Because now you enter through love in the life of the other, in the intimacy of their heart and soul. And in turn, you find a communion of life. We used an expression once, the communion of hearts. You see? The communion of intimacy. See? Because you give yourself to the other. You trust the other. You give to. It's not a fear of losing the other person. Not what you're operating under. You're not worried. Gee, if I don't do this, I'll give you an example. Okay, just a stupid one. But take Christmas. I'll show you mentality. I'm really concerned. What am I going to? I'm a married man now. Use that example. I'm a married. What can I give my wife? What would make her happy? What would really make her happy? You know? What? What's the opposite of that? Jesus Christ, I better get her something. Oh, she'll be really be mad at me. I better, come on, I got to go out and get my wife something. What a difference in mentality. I can guarantee you whatever he gets her is worthless, because he's doing it to preserve he's preserving himself. He's not giving her a gift. He's buying her peace. The other guy may give her absolutely nothing, in a sense physically worth very little, but is intimate because he gives what he can to please her. I told you a million times, well, not a million, but it's a true story, that one Christmas about, 2 or 3, 4, 5 years ago, I had visited Sarah, my friend Sarah, her mom and dad, and her grandparents at Sarah's graduation from Columbia University, okay? I love Sarah. I adore Sarah. There's no question of that. No, I went there, okay, and we were walking on the street. It was right at the day after graduation, before I flew back, a couple hours before. So I had time with Marge and Sarah, her mom and her. Her dad and grandparents had taken an earlier flight. Marge was staying, so I had a few hours. So we were walking Fifth Avenue, 5th and 40th Street, in that area, the theater district. And for whatever purposes, my shoes kept getting untied. I'm like a little boy tying my shoes. I think we had a guide with us. He had to think I was a nincompoop. Whatever. That Christmas, Sarah gave me two pairs of shoelaces. What did it cost her? $1.50? What an intimate gift. There was playful joy in it. She brought me by that gift back into the very sacred time in her life, her graduation with her. Eh? See, it isn't how much she knew that would touch my heart with joy and a little bit of laughter. She was playing with me. See, playing in the best sense. She played to the intimacy of my heart. She knew how much I loved her, and she knew that those shoelaces were sacred. They were sacraments of her heart and soul. And the moment, they recapitulated a moment in New York, a sacred moment. See? That's a good story. That's a gift of love. That's Aristotle. I'm not asking what's in it for you. You're asking, what can I do that is best for you? You see? What will bring you the most joy in your heart? What will make you feel the most loved and beloved? What makes you see yourself as beautiful and adorable? You see? That's God. It's not calculating, gee, I better keep my nose clean. If I don't get to church on Sunday, I'm going to go to hell. Good. You're already in hell. You already chose it. You chose fear over love. See? Okay, but it's a hellish world you chose. Is that the gospel? It's a far cry from the gospel. When does Christ send people to hell and damn them to death? Huh? When? Because they're sinful, they're his best friends. He takes care of the weak and the silly and the foolish. Only the arrogant, the Pharisees, only they, by their own doing, fail to see and love him. Not their fault. That's their fault. Gospel's real today. Not the gospel. The letter of John is real. Love drives out fear. It drives out calculations and self-interest. Aristotle had it beat by 400 years. Love unites in the intimacy of souls together, hearts together. Not out of fear, but at the desire for intimacy, to give oneself to the other so that the other will possess you. You see, and in possessing you, you find the fullness of life. If that isn't the gospel, I don't know what it looks like. That's John. That's John with a vengeance. Love one another as I have loved you. Christ dies on the cross for us, not for his own sake, for us. He didn't say, hey, what's in it for me? He said, what's in it for you? And who was standing there at the foot of the cross? Mary, the church. John. He understood it all. He understood it all. Be wise to pay attention to St. John.